Hi, I'm Johnny from UltimatePaperMache.com, and last time I put up a video I showed you the innards of this Indian rhino. I started out with some wet clay over a really rough armature and just made the basic shapes, got all of the wrinkles and the bone structure and the legs and that sort of thing. And then I covered that with plastic and then covered that with plaster cloth and let it harden. And that gave me, once I had the clay out of it, it gave me a shell that I could use for the actual finished sculpture. Now what I've been doing for the last week or so has been adding the homemade air dry clay that I put the recipe for that out on videos too, and I'm really discovering some interesting things about it. It is kind of fun to work with. It's a little bit different. You have to kind of play around with it a little while to get used to it, but it's got some really interesting things going on. So let me show you a few of the things that I discovered. I turned the camera on a couple of times when I was working on this beast. I like to knead the air dry clay for just a minute in my hands and then just start squishing it out, turned it into a pancake. Seems to be the easiest way to get a nice even coat. And I'm really just trying on this guy, I don't know, what is it, maybe a 1/16 of an inch, not much. This is helping to get those nice folds back and covers up all the weird lines that were made by the plaster cloth. And you can get some really cool textures in it. Oh, where am I? Put it right here. It will stick to the plaster cloth if you make sure that it comes fully in contact with it. So I'm really pressing down. And now it's going over some of the old stuff. I don't actually need that much, do I? What I do? Yeah, I do. This is a real heavy fold right here. So I'm just rolling it back. I'll probably add another roll just to emphasize that. Now I'm getting my fingers all kind of gooey, putting it in this water and glue stuff. And I'm just using it to make sure that the edges of the new air dry clay blend in really nice over that old stuff so that there's no seam right there. You almost have to get your knife damp. It just doesn't seem to work. It won't slide over the clay without it. Go over with this onion bag. Got big grit on it. That softens up the pattern and makes it really bumpy in kind of a cool way. It seems rhino-like. I like it. One thing I'm running into is that the pieces, when they're not totally connected together, when I'm putting them on there wet, they're cracking. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting a little bit of the water and glue mixture over the cracks, and I'm using just a wee bit more to fill it up, kind of like you would plaster wall. Hopefully it works better though than fixing plaster, because usually if you get a crack started in a real plaster wall, it just cracks open again after you fix it. This shouldn't, I don't think, because you've got a little piece now, and it'll shrink a little bit too, but these bigger pieces had so much more space to shrink against, and so I'm thinking that this will fix it. By the end of this video, we should know. It's finally time to work on this face. I'm putting a little bit of glue, the glue and water combination here, on my pieces just before I put on a really thin section of clay. Just want to make sure that it sticks, especially in an area around this eye where I know I'm not going to be able to push down very hard. I'm not trying to get a a portrait or anything of this lady. I just decided it's a lady. Just trying to get, Rhino-esque. Pushing it up, using the clay itself to kind of get those crazy wrinkles around the eyes. Using really, really thin pieces here, just for that eyelid. And since you saw what happens when you don't get it connected, the new stuff connected to the old stuff, I'm trying really hard to get those edges attached. I kind of like what's going on here, and I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to go ahead and put this back down and let it harden. It takes just maybe 20 or 30 minutes to form a skin that's strong enough so that I don't wreck it when I'm working on the piece close to it. So it just seems to make sense to let it dry. It's been a couple of days now, and so it's had plenty of time to dry. I filled in the cracks and they did not open up again. I didn't entirely cover some of them, so they still show, but because this is Rhino skin, I'm not too worried about it. It actually looks a lot smoother than a real Rhino would. I want to show you the other side too, which I put together a little bit more carefully. This is the second half that I put the clay over, and because I already knew that it was going to crack if I didn't get those edges really closely attached to each other, I went ahead and was really careful when I put the pieces, the pancake pieces on here, and smushed them together really carefully with the glue and water mixture, so I didn't get any cracking at all on this second half. So it really was operator error in the first place. You shouldn't get any cracking if you are really careful putting it on. So that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed all of your projects you did this weekend. If you want to show them off, be sure and come and visit us at ultimatepapermache.com. I'll see you there. Bye-bye.